All right, what's happening, dudes? I have a pretty cool video planned for today. We're going to be talking about some of my all-time favorite knife designers. Every knife is designed by somebody. Sometimes, if it's a larger kind of production company, they'll have in-house designers. Sometimes they'll bring in outside designers to do a knife with that company. And some designers just have their own company, and you know, they have specifically their knives that they design, and that's it. Um, I have a few designers that I really, really like how they make knives. Their designs speak to me. They look great. They function great. There's just things that I love about them, and I'm going to point those out to you guys. First of all, if you haven't subscribed, please do it right now. I would appreciate it very much. Follow me on Instagram as well, duties_daggers. And please like the video before you forget. Thank you. So, an example of an in-house design would be something like the ProTech Malibu. This is just a ProTech. It doesn't have the name of a designer on it. This was designed by one person or probably a group of people at ProTech. It's just a ProTech. Great knife, incredible knife, designed by probably a group of people at ProTech. And that's how most ProTechs are. An example of a large production company that sometimes brings in outside designers but have also very good in-house designers is Kizer. Kizer has one particular in-house designer that does just a lot of really awesome stuff. Here's only two examples, but he has so many knives with Kizer, and that is Azo. If you've ever held a Kizer, more than likely it's an Azo design. He works for Kizer. He's their in-house designer, one of their in-house designers, and he makes incredible stuff. Here are just two examples: the Kizer Drop Bear, amazing knife, and the Kizer Horn, which this one actually I have chopped down, so that's why it doesn't look like it normally does. I ended up shortening it in the handle and the blade to make it kind of into a little mini snappy reverse flicking utility knife. Really, really like this thing. You can see his maker mark, Azo, right there under where it says horn. And then on the drop bear, it just says Azo right there under the drop bear. So he does amazing stuff. It's almost kind of unbelievable how many just great knives he's done with Kizer. I almost always like his stuff from Kizer. The drop bear here, this is one of my favorite Kizers ever. And honestly, I've never gotten a Kizer I didn't like. And that's being completely honest. Some I love more than others, but I have never once gotten a Kizer and been like, nah, this isn't for me. Never. So that says a lot about their designers, Azo and whoever else is doing them as well. Just really good quality designs. And, it's probably obvious, a design is only as good as its execution, right? Its fit and finish, the way it's put together and actually built, which Kizer does an amazing job at. So that's an example of an in-house designer that is really killing it. Let's talk about Justin Lundquist. So Justin Lundquist, for a long time, has done various designs with Wii knives, with Kizer, with Civivi, and others. Those are the main three. One of his Civivi knives that I really love is the Civivi Lumi. This is a fantastic little gentleman's fifth pocket sort of carry. This is an aftermarket titanium clip that I have on this one. Gray G10 shadow boxed liners, and it's a top flipper, and it's a very, very good one. Extremely good. Lundquist likes to do top flippers. He has a few designs that are either front or top flippers. The Kizer Feist, for example, and the Feist XL. The Void Opus by Wii Knives is a top flipper as well, and there's a few others. This is the one that I have, and I really love it. Very thin, hollow ground blade, very pokey. This is just an awesome little office carry, light duty. it's just great. I love popping this blade out. It's still fun. You know, I've had this for a while. It's still fun to do. You can do over the top, you know, regular front flipper style. It's awesome. And then a little bit later down the line, he created his own company and started making his own knives. OEM'd by, I think, Kubi or QSP, I can't remember. You know, until now, he's been doing stuff with Civivi, Kizer, like I said, but now he has his own brand called Qvist. And this is the Qvist PE2. It's the nested liner lock version of the knife. The PE3 has been pre-ordered, and that's a frame lock version. You can also get this in G10 or micarta. This is the full tie one. This is a great knife. Kind of a sway back design, kind of the upswept handle back here, and the sheep's foot blade. Really love this thing. It just feels so good to hold the knife like this, which is kind of what the sway back design is supposed to be for. This upswept butt here kind of rests right in the palm of your hand very comfortably, and you can kind of just brace up against that. It just feels great. Ergonomics are really good on this one, surprisingly so. You know, you wouldn't think because of this notch, but you know, if you want to choke up, your middle finger goes in the notch, and then if you choke back, your pointer finger goes in the notch, and both feel really good. We have a couple means of deployment. You got the front flipper, which is really easy to do. Doesn't look like it would be because it's kind of small, but really easy to pop that out. And the reverse flick is excellent. Really good reverse flicking action. Can I thumb flick it? I don't know. Not really. More of a reverse flicker. 14C28N blade steel on this guy. So even though it's a premium looking and feeling knife with the titanium scales and the nested liner, this knife's only around $100 because they use the little bit less expensive steel. So very cool. I always like when companies do that. It's good to have kind of middle of the road knives like this. Another one that comes to mind is the Devo knives Mash. You know, similar way of doing things with a less expensive blade steel and a premium handle. It's just cool. So Justin Lundquist, great designer. Really like his stuff a lot. All right, what should we do next? How about Elijah Isham? Possibly the wildest and most inventive designer on the list. His knives are unique. You know, all of these designers, you can usually tell one of their designs just by looking at it, except for maybe Azo, because he does a lot of really different stuff. But Isham in particular, man, you can always tell an Isham as soon as you see it. This is the Isham Plethoros and the Isham McKenna, both by Civivi. And sadly, he has passed away. He is no longer on this earth, and it sucks because, you know, I was kind of late getting into his stuff. I wish I had, you know, kind of been in the knife game while he was alive, you know, just to kind of see him do stuff, you know, I don't know. But luckily his designs are still around. This one, the Plethoros, it's a larger knife. Very, very just kind of weird, but very, you know, weird in a good way. The flipper tab is almost like pointing upwards, which is strange, but it feels really good to flick it. It's almost like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. You're almost like pulling out and down at the same time. It's really cool. Ergonomics are really good on this thing. You might not think that they would be, but they're great, you know. Back here, great. You can choke up on this little flat spot right up here. This blade I actually stonewashed myself. It used to be a satin. We have G10 and kind of a carbon fiber or laminate overlay over that. Deep carry pocket clip. Not my favorite clip, but yeah, it works. You can see Isham's logo right there on the blade. That's his logo. Pair of glasses and eyebrows. This is a very thin, very slicey blade. Super duper thin and super slicey. Lock bar access isn't the best on this one, but you know, whatever. he does this kind of like triangular cutout on a lot of his knives. It's more for looks. You can't really get in there. You can kind of get it for the reverse flick, but it's not really meant for that. It's more of an aesthetic thing. And then we have the Civivi McKenna, which this is probably one, I don't know, it's one of my favorite smaller knives. This is just such a classy looking knife. This is the copper version in the Damascus. Front flipper, one of the easiest front flippers ever to use. It's just insane how easy it is. This Damascus looks amazing. Got the same triangular cutout, very similar aesthetically to the Plethoros. We have this kind of aged, tumbled copper scales and backspacer, full liners, aftermarket deep carry clip on this one as well. Just a great design. This is a very, very thin blade, and it's like 12 thousandths behind the edge. So one of the thinnest in my entire collection. This is such a good, just little utility knife for opening stuff, you know, doing a little bit of utility cutting. And it's just classy as hell, man. It really is. Front flipper is perfect. The jimping goes around the top. So literally, you put your finger on top of it, and you just pull back. You know, it's that easy. You almost don't even need to push down at all. It grips your fingers so well. I love this thing. I really love it. So, Elijah Isham. Rest in peace. Next up. Most of these I have two knives for, but these next ones I don't. Rick Hinderer, right? Old school knife designer. Been making knives for a very long time. And he makes everything in his shop in the United States, which is really cool. He even makes his own hardware. Which is kind of rare for even, you know, completely USA-made knives. Most of them will get their hardware from elsewhere, even if it's not overseas, but they'll get it from elsewhere. He makes everything in his shop, which is really cool. This is the XM18 3.5 inch Spanto with the flipper and choil. I love this knife. It's ergonomically insanely comfortable. This flipper tab acts like a guard, so you just feel so secure and just badass gripping this thing. This blade shape is meant for prying. This is the only knife I can think of that it actually says on their website, this is built for prying. You can use this to pry. It's crazy. It's just really thick up here. Thick behind the edge too. So this is not the best slicer, but man, this is just a tough ass workhorse. Action is nuts. Flipper tab and thumb studs, which are also the over travel stops. This is one of my favorite knives. Absolutely love it. And then another one where I have a single knife for is Brian Nadeau. Probably my all-time favorite knife designer. I absolutely love his knives. Just aesthetically and functionally. Not only are his designs, in my opinion, some of the most beautiful, but the way that they're built is just unparalleled. You know, these are made by Riot, but they're using his design. He has a special detent system going on in here that is unlike any other knife. It's his own thing, and it creates just a very crisp breakaway as you're deploying the knife. Feels like nothing else. So just all around good. You know, a lot of I won't say a lot. Some designs look great aesthetically, but functionally you're like, could be better, or the other way around. In this case, it's just everything that's good. Everything is good. Hand rubbed satin finish on this M390 blade. This is the black PVD coated titanium handle with the golden carbon fiber, which is just stunning. Absolutely stunning. We got the inlay on both sides, creating a bolster lock kind of effect here. Front flipper primarily, but you can get in there for the reverse flick using this little fuller here. Just a beautiful drop point blade. Absolutely beautiful. I love this fat swedge up here and how it kind of takes out that fuller jimping, the right amount of jimping that goes extends long enough to get your thumb all the way on it. Ergonomically, just insanely good. smooth as crap. It's, it doesn't get any better. To me, this is almost the perfect knife. Brian Nadeau, incredible designer. Next up, Ramon Chavez. Another very recognizable knife maker. His designs are just immediately, they're a Chavez. Kind of thick, chunky handles and wicked-ass looking blades. These are chunky boys, but they get thin behind the edge. They're just thick, man. Look at this compared to, let's see, what's a good, here we go. Even compared to the Sharp by Design, so thick. Compared to the PE2, it's just thick, dude. This backspacer is just massive. No milling on the insides of these big old pieces of titanium, so it's a heavy guy. It's just big, it's beefy, but look how smooth it is. Some of the most hydraulic action of any knife in my collection. It's so controlled. Oh, big fat beefy thumb studs. Very comfortable handle. It's very neutral. Choke up spot, incredible. I love this knife. And here's another one. This is another Chavez, but it's a budget, much more affordable Chavez. This is only around $80. It's a new company called Iconic. And this company is making affordable knives designed by some of these world-renowned designers, allowing for their designs to be more accessible to a wider range of people. It's really cool. You can see, looking at it, immediately it's a Chavez, right? And you can just tell these kind of angular handles, this section right here of the handle that kind of comes out, the sharpening choil, even just the shape of the blade. It just screams Chavez. It's a cool knife, very thin behind the edge, really comfortable, feels really locked in feeling. I do think this knife is a little overpriced. They're using D2, and I really wish it was 14C or 154cm or something like that. I think this knife, in its form that it is right now, should be more like $50. Or if they would have switched to 14C, I would have been fine with the 80. But nevertheless, really cool that his designs are, or at least one of them, is now more accessible. So I hope to get more Chavez knives in the collection. These are his production knives, by the way, made by Riot. Same with the Sharp by Design, made by Riot. And just awesome, awesome knives. So that's Ramon Chavez. And lastly, this isn't in any kind of order, by the way. This is just completely random. Lastly, Ray Laconico. I can't really say one of my favorite designers. These are all my favorite designers. This is just another one of my favorite designers. Ray Laconico. Like all the others, very recognizable. He likes to use this kind of milled out slot in a lot of his knives. He makes full customs, but he also makes knives with, other companies, just like all of these others. Except, well, not all of the others, but some of the others. You know what I mean. So this first one here is the Artisan Cutlery Centauri. This is a front flipper only. Super easy front flipper to use. Amazing blade shape. Fat old swedge up here. Relatively thin behind the edge. Would you call this it's almost like a Warncliffe with belly sort of thing. I guess you'd probably call it a drop point, but it's a very low tipped drop point. A little bit of a curved handle. We have a textured titanium lock side, really nice titanium clip, and it says Laconico right on the backspacer there. Artisan Cutlery, very smooth. Pretty big knife too. You can see it is pretty big. I'll say that the lock bar access is not the greatest, but it's really not an issue. It's just something I notice. Awesome knife. And then this is the newest one, the Civivi Sukoke. This is his most recent design with Civivi, and I very much like it. This is kind of a budget version of the Wii Esprit. or Esprite, however you want to pronounce it. It's very similar, not identical, but it is very similar. This is good quality micarta coming from Civivi, which is not normally the case. So I'm very happy to see that. It's actually like kind of fuzzy and textury. Looks amazing. Same type of micarta backspacer here. Deep carry clip, inset with flat screws. It's a great clip too, not the typical Civivi clip. It's a thumb stud and a front flipper. Great, 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 great detent for both means of deployment. Just excellent, man. So good. We can see some similarities here in the handle, and especially closed, you can see similarities, especially them being both front flippers, very similar. Ray Laconico, man. I've handled a few of his, more of his designs that I don't own, and I've really liked all of them, man. One that I have my eye on right now is the Monterey Bay Knives Field Trekker. It's a fixed blade designed by Laconico that I am just lusting after right now. He's got so many good designs, man. It's crazy. So, Ray Laconico. And lastly, you can't make a knife like this without mentioning this guy. I only have one knife of his, and that is Jesper Voxnaes. This is the Pilar Large, or maybe it's the Pilar, I can't remember. This is his line with CRKT, the Pilars. I have owned the Pilar 3, the Pilarge, and now this one, you can see Voxnaes design right there. He is known for having some of the best ergonomic designs ever. And if you've ever held any of the Pilars, really, you know that is absolutely true. This is an amazingly comfortable knife. Amazingly comfortable. This one in particular is an exclusive version, I think, with micarta. That's the exclusive part. They all have this stonewashed stainless steel lock side. Blade steel is D2. It's a reverse flicker. And I think my favorite is the Pilar 3. That's an amazing knife, man. All of his designs are great. He has some designs with, is it Giant Mouse? I can't remember now. I've tried a few of them. This is the only one I own right now, though. Voxnaes, legendary knife maker. And that's about it. Those are some of my all-time favorite knife designers right there. Let's get them all out, or at least the ones that I can fit. Let's see how many we can fit. We got the Artisan Cutlery Arion. These are all going to be linked below, by the way, the ones that are available at least. The Civivi Sakoke. Let's put it right there. We had the Chavez Scapegoat. I'm not going to be able to fit them all. Oh well. The Iconic Knives RCK9 Chavez. The Azo Drop Bear. The Azo Horn from Kizer. This will kind of be sneaked into the bottom there. Let me scoot them all up a little bit. How about that? We're going to try. We're going to try to do this. I think we can. And then we had Sharp by Design, Brian Nadeau. These are going to be halfway on. Oh well. Elijah Isham, the Civivi Plethoros, and McKenna. Justin Lundquist, Qvist PE2, and Civivi Lumi. Rick Hinderer with the XM18 3.5 inch. And Jesper Voxnaes with the Pilars. And there you go. Hopefully that was entertaining, folks. I kind of, these designers, I love collecting knives from them. You know what I mean? When you find a designer that you really like, it just feels good to have like multiple knives of theirs in your collection. I do have another Brian Nadeau, my Apex, but it's lent out to Jason right now. And I hope to have more in the future. I hope to have more from all these designers in the future. I think they're all just amazing. Yeah, what more can you say? They're just great. Let me know in the comments what your favorite designer is or some of your favorites. I'm curious to see what's some of yours. Thanks for watching, folks. Please like the video before you head out. And yeah, I think that's about it. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. I'll see you in the next video. Peace and love.